How to Save the World and Other Things on My To-Do List. One Woman's Totally Serious Guide to Inner World Domination by Lizzie Allan, Creator of Hilarapy. Chapter 13. You Are Being Guided. There is something within you that already knows the way. Not the logical, planning, figure-it-all-out part of you. Not the part that makes spreadsheets and weighs up pros and cons and tries to calculate the safest route through uncertain territory. Something deeper than that. Something older and quieter and more reliable than anything your thinking mind has ever produced. You are being guided by creative intelligence itself, the same intelligence that moves through everything, that times the seasons and coordinates migration of birds and knows exactly when a seed is ready to break open, is moving through you. And it is not confused about your life. It is not waiting for you to figure things out before it can help. It is already working, already pointing, already moving you, gently, consistently, patiently, in the direction of what is yours. All you need to do is listen. Not strain, not overthink. Not try to logic your entire life into a shape that makes sense on paper. Just listen. Because guidance is not complicated. It doesn't arrive as a 10-page plan with contingencies and risk assessments. It doesn't wait until everything makes logical sense before it speaks. It comes as something much simpler and much more immediate than that. A thought, a feeling, a pull towards something, a sense of rightness that doesn't come from your head but from somewhere deeper, from your body, from the gut. From that quiet place in you that seems to know things before your mind has caught up. And here's how you recognize it, because this is important. Learning to feel the difference between genuine guidance and anxious thinking is one of the most valuable things you can develop on this path. Genuine guidance has a particular quality in the body. It feels light, not heavy or pressured or urgent in the way that fear is urgent. Light, like something releasing rather than contracting. There is often a sense of expansion in the chest, a kind of opening. The thought arrives cleanly, without the jagged edges of anxiety or the circular quality of overthinking. It doesn't loop, it doesn't argue with itself, it just lands, clear and simple and strangely still. Sometimes it comes with a quiet excitement, not the manic this might work or it might not excitement of a plan you're not sure about, but a deeper, steadier kind, almost like recognition, like something in you going, yes, I knew this, I've always known this. And then, usually very quickly, the mind steps in, the questions start, the doubt arrives, the careful dismantling begins. And if you're not paying attention, you will mistake that dismantling for wisdom, for being sensible, for being responsible, for not getting carried away. But it isn't wisdom. It's the old pattern trying to keep you where you are. Guidance feels like an invitation. Fear feels like a wall. Learn to tell the difference, and when guidance speaks, even once, even quietly, take it seriously. Say this out loud. I am guided from within. I trust the direction of my life. I listen to the quiet knowing inside me. I do not ignore what feels true. Creative intelligence is always speaking to me. I am learning to hear it. Then this. I know what genuine guidance feels like in my body, the lightness, the opening, the quiet certainty. I trust that feeling. I follow that feeling. It has never led me wrong. And this. I have always been guided. Looking back, I can see it. Every door that opened, every person who appeared, every thought that pointed me somewhere new. I was being led then, and I am being led now. I trust that completely. For me, guidance has always been there, but I haven't always been able to hear it clearly. Sometimes it arrives as a nudge, sometimes as a feeling, and sometimes, I'll be honest, it needs to be practically spelled out before I can receive it. I was at the end of my comedy writing and performance degree, the first degree of its kind ever to exist. I had followed my passion for comedy all the way to a university qualification, while simultaneously embracing my recovery and healing journey. Both things happening at once, the laughter and the healing, the performing and the processing. And then came the final hurdle, a performance research project. I had to come up with a question, a direction, a thesis. I went to my tutor, Lisa, and I said, I can't think of what I want to do. I know what I want my audience to feel, but I don't know what to do. She said she couldn't help me with my performance research question, but she started asking me things, teasing it out of me. And what came out was this. I wanted to explore going mad in Thailand, being sectioned in the psychiatric ward, my addiction, my recovery, the shame around all of it. I wanted my audience to feel sameness and love and peace and forgiveness for their own lived experience. I wanted us to be in the light together with our stories. I wanted to find the humour, because I was well and nearly 6 years clean. I wanted to celebrate my recovery, and I wanted to turn the light towards the dark shadows in my own psyche, through comedy, through the work, through being honest on stage about the things that had nearly finished me. And Lisa looked at me and she started to speak very slowly and very deliberately, as if she was spelling something out that she technically wasn't allowed to spell out. Can I use comedy as a therapeutic tool? And I was mouthing the words back to her with absolutely no idea how to finish the sentence. To smash the shame and stigma surrounding my own addiction and mental health? There was a moment of silence, and then a tumbling forward of downloads. Everything arriving at once, the whole shape of something I had been moving toward without knowing I was moving toward it, not invented in that moment, revealed. Like a curtain being pulled back on something that had always been there, waiting for exactly this conversation, exactly this question, exactly this tutor who cared enough to spell it out word by word until I could finally hear it. That was the seed that grew into Hilarapy. The show was amazing for me because it was joy-filled. It wasn't perfect. I kept forgetting my lines, but I was present on stage and I enjoyed every single part of it. I had the audience on my side. The room was filled with people from recovery who could identify with the insanity and being lost and the getting well. I got terrible marks for my university course, but I put the show on YouTube, and a psychiatric doctor from the very hospital where I had been sectioned over a decade earlier saw it, and I was invited back to Bath to perform for a mental health wellness day. And then I kept being invited to perform it. The non-perfection was the point. That was always the point. Me on stage, moving between telling my absurd story through jokes and then talking with the audience like a friend, like someone who needed support, who needed to be real, who needed to share her truth, and in doing so, giving everyone else in the room permission to do the same. The show was a success. It snowballed. I was asked to perform in all sorts of places, to help people, to break shame, to bring laughter into spaces where it hadn't been before. And from that seed, everything grew. The formula evolved, the work deepened, Canada, the therapeutic training, the comedy therapy shows, the one-woman performances, the courses, the workshops, all of it flowing from that one afternoon in a tutor's office when the guidance was so close, so present, so obvious, and still needed to be spelled out. That is how guidance works sometimes, not as a lightning bolt, as a patient, gentle, word-by-word spelling out of what was already true. And it was right there. It had always been right there. Lisa didn't give it to me. She just held up the mirror long enough for me to see it. Say this now. I am guided from within. The same intelligence that moves through everything moves through me. It knows where I am going even when I don't. I trust it. I follow it. I say yes to it. Then this. Guidance comes to me in many forms, sometimes as a nudge, sometimes as a feeling, sometimes as a tutor spelling something out word by word. I stay open to all the ways creative intelligence speaks to me. I recognize it, I receive it, and this. I have always been guided. Looking back, I can see it. Every door that opened, every person who appeared, every conversation that spelled out what I couldn't yet say. I was being led then. I am being led now. I trust that. Most people miss this, not because guidance isn't there. It is, always, consistently, patiently there. But because they don't trust it. The moment it speaks, the mind steps in with its very reasonable, Very well-intentioned, very effective dismantling routine. What about the bills? What will people think? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm wrong? What if I follow this and it leads nowhere and I've given up something certain for something uncertain and I end up worse off than I started? And before they know it, they've talked themselves out of the very thing that was trying to guide them forward. But nobody talks about what it costs, so I will, because I don't think we talk about it enough. We talk about the risk of following guidance, what might go wrong, what might not work out, what might change in ways that are uncomfortable. But we don't talk nearly enough about the cost of consistently not following it. Sometimes the cost is a lot of suffering. People stay in very unhealthy situations for a very long time. Sometimes that suffering is loud, dramatic, impossible to ignore or explain away. Addiction, breakdown, the kind of pain that finally forces the hand. But sometimes it is quieter than that, and the quiet suffering is in some way harder to name and therefore harder to leave. What accumulates when you override your guidance year after year is a particular kind of quiet suffering, not dramatic suffering, nothing you could easily point to and name, just a gradual, persistent sense of being slightly out of alignment with yourself, of living a life that is almost yours, but not quite, of going through the motions of days that look fine from the outside but feel hollow from the inside, of lying awake with a feeling you can't quite name, not unhappiness exactly, but a kind of wistfulness, a sense of, what if I had followed that? That is not a small cost. That is your one life, lived at a fraction of its actual capacity. And the thing that makes it particularly painful is that nobody else can see it. The outside can look completely respectable, good job, stable life, sensible choices, while the inside is quietly, persistently longing for something different. I am not saying follow every whim. I'm not saying abandon your responsibilities or make reckless decisions in the name of following your feelings. I am saying take the guidance seriously. Give it the weight it deserves. Stop dismissing it as impractical before you've even fully heard it, because it is not random. It is not wishful thinking. It is creative intelligence speaking directly to you about the direction of your life. And there is something else that gets in the way too. A kind of overinflated sense of responsibility, a belief usually unconscious, usually inherited, that if you step out, if you choose something different, if you follow the pull toward the life that is actually calling you rather than the one that is expected of you, something will break. Someone will be hurt. The whole carefully constructed arrangement will come apart. It won't. Life will continue. Other people will adapt, and you, finally, genuinely, will begin to live yours. Because guidance doesn't drag you, it invites you, and it will keep inviting, patiently, for as long as it takes. The question is only ever, how long will you wait? Say this now. I trust my intuition. I follow what feels true. I am led to what is right for me. I say yes to what calls me. I do not talk myself out of my own guidance. Then this. I know the difference between guidance and fear. Guidance feels light and clear and expansive. Fear feels heavy and circular and closed. I choose to follow the light. I choose to trust the clear. And this. I release the overinflated sense of responsibility that keeps me from moving. The world will not collapse if I follow my own guidance. Life will continue. Following my guidance is following my good. Let me take you back to Depreston for a moment. After university, I had been guided there to a job working with a recovery network. A beautiful job, real work. And it was there that I had been supported to run my first ever comedy therapy course. The first time I had ever held the two things together in a room, the laughter and the healing, and something in me went, oh, this is it. This is what I am meant for. So I did what any sensible, vision-led, totally unstoppable person would do. I wrote a job description, a full proposal outlining what comedy therapy could look like as a full-time role at the charity. I mapped the whole vision out. I handed it to my boss with everything I had. He laughed at me, not cruelly, just with the complete bafflement of someone who genuinely could not see what I could see. And I understood something in that moment. Depreston was not the place for my big, beautiful vision. I would have to leave. I just had no idea where I was supposed to go. And then one day I was standing at the window at work, watching the storm, rain hitting the glass, and I became so present, so completely still, that I found myself watching a single drop of water make its way slowly down the pane. Just that. Just the drop, just the glass, just the rain. And into that stillness, clear and simple and completely certain, came 3 words. Go to Canada. I literally spun round and announced it to my entire team. My operations manager looked at me, stunned. She said, "How long for? We'll hold your job." And I felt it immediately, a heaviness, the weight of coming back to this place, of returning to the proposal that had been laughed at, of shrinking back into a life that was never going to be big enough for what wanted to come through me. I heard myself say, "No, don't hold it. I'm not coming back." And then the heaviness lifted. A lightness flooded in, clean and certain and completely alive. I had been given my marching orders by the universe. No 5-year plan, no spreadsheet, no idea how it would work or what I would do when I got there. Just knowing. Clear, quiet, certain knowing. And life met me there, in ways I couldn't have planned, with gifts I couldn't have anticipated, opening doors I didn't even know existed. That is how guidance works. It doesn't need your logic, it needs your willingness. When you follow this, really follow it, not just agree with it intellectually, but actually move when it speaks, life responds. Not always instantly, not always in the way you expect, not always through the door you were watching, but consistently, reliably, in ways that, looking back, you can see were always part of the movement. Every time I have followed my inner guidance, life has expanded. Not always comfortably, not always without uncertainty, but always toward more. More alignment, more aliveness, more of the things that actually matter. More of a sense that I am living my life rather than a cautious, edited version of it. My mum always says, Lizzie always lands on her feet. And she's right, but not by accident, not by luck, because I expect to. Because somewhere deep inside me there is a settled, practiced trust that I am being led towards my good, that the intelligence guiding me knows what it's doing, that landing on my feet is not wishful thinking, it is just what comes from trusting the guidance and following through, and that expectation becomes experience every time. Say this: I expect life to support me. I expect things to work out. I expect to land on my feet, not because everything will be easy, but because I am guided and I trust where I am being led. Life meets me in my expectation. I expect good. Then this. Every time I have trusted my guidance, life has expanded. I have evidence of this. I carry that evidence with me. It strengthens my trust. It deepens my willingness to follow. And this. I move through life with confident expectation. I move with trust. I trust deeply because I've seen it work. I follow. I expand. I am led to ever-widening experiences of good. So let me ask you something directly, and I want you to actually stay with this rather than reading past it. What have you been feeling called to do that you've been ignoring? Take a breath and really ask yourself that. Not quickly, not in passing. Actually ask it. Let it land in your body rather than just your mind. Because the answer won't always come from thinking. It will come from feeling, from the body, from the place that knows before the mind does. Close your eyes for a moment if that helps. Get quiet and ask, what is calling me? Notice what comes up first before the mind has a chance to evaluate it or dismiss it or explain it away. That first thing, that immediate thing, the thought that arrives before the reasons against it do. That's the guidance. That's the signal you've been waiting for. It might be something big, a complete change of direction, a relationship that needs to end or begin, a move, a leap, something that would require real courage and real trust. Or it might be something smaller, a conversation you've been avoiding, a creative project you've been putting off, a step you've been meaning to take for months but keep finding reasons to delay. Whatever it is, notice how it feels in your body. Is there a lightness to it, a sense of expansion? Does something in you quietly, almost reluctantly, go, yes, that's it? That's your guidance, and it has been waiting, patient and certain and completely undeterred by how many times you've walked past it. It is still there, still pointing, still saying, this way. Now notice what happens next. Notice the thoughts that come in to manage it, the practical objections. It's more trouble than it's worth. The what-ifs, the reasons why now isn't the right time. Just notice them, not to argue with them, but to see them clearly for what they are. The old pattern trying to keep you where you are, the fear dressed up as responsibility. And then ask yourself, what would it mean to say yes to this? Not to have it all figured out, not to know every step, just to say yes, to acknowledge the guidance, to stop pretending you don't feel it. The guidance has been there this whole time. It was there before you opened this book. It is what brought you here. It is what has been with you through every chapter, quietly confirming what you already know, gently pointing towards what is already yours. You don't need more proof. You don't need more preparation. You don't need to wait until the path is fully visible before you take the first step. You need to move. Say this now and mean it completely. I listen and I respond. I do not delay what I know is right. I trust myself to move forward. I follow the guidance within me. I am done waiting for more certainty than I already have. Then this. What is calling me is real. What I feel pulled towards is worth following. I give myself permission to move in the direction of what feels true, even before I can fully explain it, even before I have all the answers, even before the path is completely clear. And this. I am not figuring out my life. I am being led through it. There is a difference. One is exhausting, the other is extraordinary. I choose to be led. I choose to trust. I choose to follow. Your life will expand the moment you expect it to, the moment you trust it, the moment you say yes, really say yes. Not a tentative maybe yes to what is already calling you, a definite, undeniable yes. And take this with you. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone in this. There is an intelligence moving through your life that is always, always oriented toward your expansion, toward your fullness, toward the version of you that is most alive, most expressed, and most genuinely yourself. It has been with you through every chapter of this book, through every choice you've made, and every moment you've returned to this work, and every time you've chosen truth over fear. It was with you before you opened these pages. It will be with you long after you close them. It was with you in the tutor's office when someone spelled out word by word the thing you couldn't yet say. It was with you at the office window watching a raindrop. It was with you on the mattress on the floor with incense burning, looking up from a book and remembering. It was with you at 22 sitting on the side of your bed saying yes to the volcano. It was with you at the dinner table with Maria. It was with you in the ring of fire. It was with you on Saturday morning when the grief finally arrived and moved through and left you lighter. It has always been with you. Trust the signs, follow the nudges, take the next step, just the next one, that's all. And then the one after that will show itself. You are not lost, you are not behind, you are not too late, you are not too much, and you are not too small for what is calling you. You are being led. Where you are being led is more beautiful than you have yet allowed yourself to imagine. Keep walking. If you would like to download a free copy of this book, go to my website, lizzieallan.com, and find How to Save the World and download your free copy there. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share with your friends, because this is a group effort. I'm really glad you're here. I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm out.